Good morning, coffee moaners. Now, I have done the classic thing again. I am in my workout gear. Why?
Because you're going to do a workout.
I've got my workout gear on yesterday. Did I do a workout?
I don't know. You're always moving
I
about.
did not.
Did you not? No.
And I've done it again today, and it's not good.
What is it?
When you do this, when you put out your... Because
The
there's
whole
so
point
many...
of putting your leotard and everything on is so that it makes you do it.
Yeah.
It's like straight after this, I will put on my gear and do my bit, but that's something different because it's my Postman Pat outfit.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got to get out doing this because it's not good. If you put it on, do it. If not, get dressed.
And if you pull it off, put it in.
Does anybody else do that? Put on their workout gear. But I will say workout gear means you do move around more. You just feel, if you put on really baggy, sloppy clothes, if I put them on, it makes me more baggy and sloppy.
I'm going to say something really contentious now.
What?
Women's makeup gear, women's workout gear is all about tightening in, isn't it? It's all about,
Well, no, it doesn't. I can't move in it. If it's not like a Spanx.
Do you feel, and I mean this in the politest of ways.
Oh God, what's he gonna? Right, who can guess what Mark is going to say? And I want you to be really honest. If you see it come up there, somebody's going to win a card.
Okay, so do you feel like beep beep?
Fill in the gap. What
beep,
is Mark? I'm going to read some of the map. God, so far away, I can't read anything now. Right, what is fill in the bleeps? Be careful,
Something
Mark,
rude,
says Alison Fisher.
Thread carefully.
They're still coming through.
Oh,
my
Bevington.
God. Edward Beddington.
Camel toe.
Tight ass, says Michelle.
Stacey, you're too generous. Big.
Stop it, Stacey.
Congratulations to Stacey.
Thank you. Stacey's given more memberships out today.
Yeah.
That's really kind of you, but you must stop. Something about showing off your assets.
Fitter.
Assets. Is that what he would say? Vicky waiting.
Edward, I did not say toe. No, you didn't say toe, to be fair.
Tight
Edward.
and restricting, says Nyambi. I don't want to know, says Hannah. Happy birthday, Trina. We'll sing you happy birthday later. Bazonkers, says Reese Roberts. What were you going to say? Has anyone guessed it? Who's got closest? Come on, let's have some more guesses.
I don't think any. Oh, Nicola Ritchie, you're the so generous. Bless you.
Nicola has
5 other people
gifted.
are going to suddenly see a green
That's
thing.
very
next to their
sweet.
name.
So welcome to the members area. These people that have been given a month's membership.
Very sweet of you
It's
both.
a live show this Sunday, and I've got some nice things I'm going to be cooking. And I'm going to be reviewing the podcast this Sunday.
the Sunday show, absolutely. Someone just said, jangling your jewels. Rachel Mason. What jewels have you got?
I don't think I've got any jewels anymore.
Is that like, I don't know, loose labia? Is that what jewels? No.
Oh my God! No, there is no such saying as there are crown jewels for balls, but there is nothing for loose labia.
Do you want to know? Anyway, so when you run around in your workout gear, do you feel svelte and lovely, or do you feel like a trussed up chicken?
Trussed up chicken.
That was what I was going to ask. Trussed up chicken. Well, answer me.
No, I can't wear anything that I feel trussed up in. I feel really uncomfortable. Sometimes I'll get changed 3 times if I feel trussed. No, it just.
Does it make you feel like?
No, it doesn't suck you in at all, but it holds you together.
What's the difference?
You're not going to wobble, but you're not going to be like
Does it make you want to bounce up and down more?
It makes you move more freely, so you are going to move around more, because sitting is the new smoking. That is fact. That's what they say. It's so bad for you. I am going to
Morning, Jill Taylor.
buy Mark, as a surprise, a walking desk. Who thinks he will get on it? Because I hate that he sits so long editing.
Yeah.
What?
I want to ask the question.
Has anyone got a walking
Richard
desk?
Brindley, what have I walked into here? Why is it that are you aware when you're wearing your women's workout gear that in a particular light, the sheen of light just bounces off it in a certain way?
Well, obviously you are. Obviously, you are very. No, I never thought. Oh God, there's a sheen of light bursting off me
No,
in a
not
particular way.
bursting.
Because
It's- no,
usually
not bursting.
I'm loading the dishwasher, cleaning out the
Precisely.
toilet,
It happens a lot
getting
there.
the fluff out of the dryer,
Bounces
or
off.
wiping the bird shit off the decking.
Bounces off. Doesn't burst off. Doesn't burst out your
No,
ass. But
I'm
it
never
just,
thinking the light is bursting off.
it's
me.
like that Colgate advert. Sometimes you'll bend over in your lycra and the sun will hit in a certain way. And it's like the moment that the ding goes like that.
Did you see the way he talked over me with the walking desk? He doesn't want one. Who has to who
We could
uses
do
the
coffee
computer a
moaning
lot?
walking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Has anybody got one? Do you actually use them? They say they are life-giving. If you have a sit-down job.
Look at the gleam on that, says Deborah. Morning. Deborah doesn't say that. Morning. I haven't caught life for ages. I've been looking after my terminally ill dad, Deborah. Oh, sweetie.
Oh,
St.
sweetie.
Christopher's
lovely
in Sydenham, near
Oh,
you.
I know St. Christopher's. I've been there a couple of times.
We'll miss
Yeah.
my dad. Deborah Holdsworth, sending you all of our love and all of
big
our love
hug.
to your dad, dear dad.
Unimaginable.
So sorry to hear that, sweetheart. Oh, Sydenham. It's where Nanny Di used to live in Sydenham.
They're thinking about it.
Siobhan Jordan says she loves her standing desk.
Do you? Siobhan, where did you get it? And you use it every day?
Good for deep vein thrombosis, says Edward
Well,
Covington.
no, anti-stroke, everything, and also amazing because you're walking all day, so it's really good.
I've got an idea.
Weight loss.
I've got an idea. Get a walking desk. You wear your
I'll be on
lycra
it the whole
and walk
time.
on it, and I work on a desk behind you.
I tell you what, I would walk on it while I'm watching the telly.
Yeah, but I'll sit behind you just looking at the sun gleam off your backside.
Oh, God. Okay, let's move on.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about walking desks now.
Right, today we are going to be talking about the...
right and wrong ways to initiate sex, which is kind of good because we've kind of got there. We're going to be talking more seriously about... This is a topic that it came up tangentially alongside the story we did last week about the woman who was paraplegic and decided to take her own life. Through assisted suicide. And this is a story about a woman in the Netherlands who has decided to take the option of assisted suicide, and she struggles with depression. She's physically totally able-bodied, physically totally well, but because of her severe depression, she's decided to opt for euthanasia. So
we touched on that lot. We touched on the depression side of it. So it was really strange that this story came up today. I know we spoke about euthanasia, but we thought it'd be relevant to talk about it.
Yeah, and I've just got some strong thoughts on this because, we'll get to that in a moment. We're also going to talk about, we cannot not talk about the current situation and the necessary and urgent pressure that needs to keep being exerted on our government regarding the sale of arms to Israel. The idea that essentially it looks like we could be in breach of the Genocide Convention if we are continuing to supply any form of military hardware, and Israel are found to have basically broken humanitarian law. And so this again pivots around the idea that since these aid workers who were killed mercilessly and in a targeted, you can't help but see that it's a targeted attack, as Israel scrambles around with their PR teams to try and put every kind of oblique word on this to spin it into some kind of, it's what happens in war, it wasn't intentional, it was a rogue officer. You can't help but wonder, well, how many other scenarios like this are happening, have happened everywhere, but because it's Palestinians at the end of the missile, they don't get any attention whatsoever. So we're going to talk about that too. So what do you want to start with? Do you want to start light or should we start?
I think we've had a bit of light, haven't we?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, should we talk about this woman in Holland?
Yeah.
So this is a really sort of distressing story. This is, as I said earlier, physically healthy 28-year-old woman has scheduled her euthanasia due to depression. They allow for this.
Autism and borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot to deal with.
So her name is Zoraya Ter Beek. She's 28, lives in the Netherlands near the German border. She's decided to take her own life with assisted suicide, which they have in the Netherlands. Despite being physically able, she has a boyfriend who she loves. She has 2 cats. And she has talked about the fact that doctors have said to her regarding her mental health that there's nothing more we can do for you. It's never going to get any better.
So, first of all, do professionals say that?
I don't know. I don't think certainly not in terms of mental health.
That works in mental health. I mean, I've never heard of the like.
Just to give a quote from Zoraya, the woman herself, she says, "I was always very clear that if it doesn't get better, I can't do this anymore. I'm seeing euthanasia as some sort of acceptable option brought to the table by physicians, by psychiatrists, when previously it was the ultimate last resort. I see the phenomenon, especially in people with psychiatric diseases and especially young people with psychiatric disorders, where the healthcare professional seems to give up on them more easily than before." She said the doctor, and then she goes into a description of how it will happen. Now, just to give context, the Netherlands was the first country in the world to make assisted suicide legal in 2001. And it says here that since then, it's become an increasingly popular option. I wouldn't say popular is the right choice of words there. In 2022, there were 8,720 euthanasia deaths in the Netherlands.
And
that represents 5% of all the country's deaths. I don't think it's like Dignitas, no. But I think this is just an option for nationals of the Netherlands. But that's 5% of all deaths.
That's a lot.
If you think about it, that is a lot. And apparently
not that I understand anything about percentages.
Check out our DIY film for that. In February, the 93-year-old former Dutch Prime Minister and his wife were both euthanized. So what are your thoughts on this,
the
guys?
Dutch Prime?
Yeah, 93-year-old, former Dutch Prime Minister. Yeah. Good ship lollipop. No guarantee her next life will be better. No. I mean, she does talk about, obviously, so what does this speak to? This speaks to the whole idea of, I think.
Oh, and what's this about Canada?
Ellen, so worrying. Professionals do say this and have a look at what's happening in Canada. It's becoming the norm instead of effective treatment. Disposable people. Zero alternative. Mo Power, mental health and euthanasia do not go together. I think that's a really important comment, and I'm going to leave that up for a moment, Mo, if you don't mind. I think it's really important but Francisca Bastos, borderline personality disorder is so complicated. There's no cure. We can't imagine how she suffered for years. We'd allow an animal to get relief. Why don't we allow a woman? Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
I mean, like I said the other week, I think we still don't understand. We don't equate mental pain in the same way that we do physical pain, because I think there's still such a misunderstanding of what, true struggles with mental health is. I mean, somebody that I know has somebody in their life that has borderline personality disorder. And of course, it's not the same for everybody with borderline personality disorder, but over the years, hearing the absolute hell for this person and for the people around this person, it really is quite shocking. I don't really understand much about borderline personality disorder. I don't know enough about it. A couple of times I've come across people that have it, and I've probably been just a bit prejudiced and just thought, why they're being so horrible, because I didn't understand it. But I'm trying to find out more and more about it. But what I have discovered is that it's incredibly painful to live with.
What are the key sort of symptoms of borderline? I mean, whenever I see BPD,
seems to be that it can be almost anything. It can manifest itself in almost any way. I mean, this person that I know who has
that's interesting. Cassar says BPD is usually caused by trauma. Yeah. I mean, actually, and also bipolar is exacerbated, as is ADHD as a child.
Everything. Yeah. PTSD. I mean, everything is, isn't it? I mean, not everything, but so much can be triggered by trauma. But it can manifest itself in lots of different ways. BPD is neurodivergent female patients with undiagnosed autism and ADHD who don't respond to traditional treatment as an excuse to discharge them. Oh, it's used when they can't actually work out what's wrong sometimes. Yes, I've heard that before. Yeah, so it's complicated. It's complicated, but there's no doubt that this woman has gone through huge suffering, hasn't she?
It's interesting.
If this option had been available to me, I would not be here now and would have missed out on a lot of joy. Yes, you said that last week, didn't you, Craig? I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? It's so difficult.
I think this is really, really tricky and it's really weird, because if you're holding yourself to the same standard that we often say, don't we, when we talk about mental health, we talk about the stigma and the taboo and around mental health discussions, and how we accept if someone walks in with a broken arm, or if you've got a condition like diabetes or Parkinson's, there is an immediate sort of understanding and a catering for that illness, a respect, and no questioning, if you like. Whereas with mental health, because of course it's held within here, it's something that's harder to pin down, sometimes harder to define. It's sometimes harder to even believe for those around. Do you want that back up?
Yeah, the NHS doesn't treat BPD, which is
Right.
just going back to my question: do they really say there's nothing we can do for you?
You know, so all the things that we've said, that mental health isn't afforded the same, if you like. I don't like to use the word respect, but it's not treated seriously, or as seriously often, or hasn't in the past, as health, physical health. We accept someone has something, they have it for life, and they're treating it for life. Sometimes with mental health, we think get over it or can move on, and all this kind of stuff. So on the one hand, in that sense, there should be a total parity, shouldn't there, between the right to be able to sort of, when one's arguing for assisted suicide and euthanasia, that if you can ask for it in a situation where your physical scenario is such that you don't want to tolerate life anymore, you should theoretically be able to do the same with your mental health. Now, of course, the clear and obvious problem with that in both cases is when you don't have the capacity mentally to make the right decision for yourself. So, often there's that thing around dementia, isn't there? It's like, I want to make this decision before I'm so far into dementia, I can't make the decision for myself. Nobody will say I've made the decision, yeah. I would argue that there's a similar, whilst that's progressive, and I understand that, and there's a kind of, the time is ticking in a dementia scenario. The problem I have with mental health, and I said it when we discussed it last week, is that if you'd given me the option at my lowest point, as Creatorholic just put very simply there, I possibly would have taken the option. And I think this is what becomes problematic with it. I would have taken the option of, of assisted suicide. And I think how many of us would, at our lowest points, have easily reached to something that would take away the pain, obviously with all the caveats of thinking, I don't want to break people's heart, but when you're in those dark places, you're thinking you're a burden, you're on your own. It's not about hurting. You're not thinking in a selfish way. You just can't see beyond the pain, or the non-pain, which is even more distressing because it's just numb. You can't feel beyond the numbness. But not everyone stays in that position, which goes back to could this doctor really have said to this person, there's nothing we can do for you. And so my final thought on this is, the only way I could imagine this working for you, if you had a mental health disorder that was so distressing and you had enough consciousness to make this choice, is that you can lodge the decision to do this, but that you have to have almost a 2 to 3 year period at a time in which you have opportunities to step back from it. I mean, obviously you don't have to do it right until the end, but I think you almost have to factor in it in order to book euthanasia for a mental health condition. The deal is that there was going to be a 3 year lead-in period where we are going to monitor you at 3 monthly stages, trying various other maybe treatments or whatever, to triple check at each stage you're in the same place or potentially worse. Do you know what I mean? As a kind of, like with I'm not drawing a parallel, but like with trans conversion, there's the whole idea that you need to go through the psychological kind of, preparation and tests, and you need to go through therapy in order to get yourself to make sure that you're in the right headspace for transitioning and the process and everything that's going to happen to your body. I think there's sort of merit in doing something than simply just saying it's a choice, you book it in now, you do it here. You have these kind of stops and stages and chapter points along the way.
I think if the doctor said that to her, I think that's wrong. If the doctor said to her, there's nothing else we can do, that's a very final thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I know it's so hard to see light when you're low, but if somebody also says you can't see light and you will never see light, I mean, where is that going to send somebody that is struggling? Well, we have a relative who took their life after years of trying to deal with her mental health. You know, she went to so many different hospitals and tried everything and was diagnosed this and diagnosed that. And it was just so traumatic for the family that she did that. And I'm sort of thinking, it was such a long journey. Would it have been better if she'd been able to make that choice and been able to tell people? And like this woman talks about a boyfriend and they've got a plan and they've got... The other thing is, you see, I worry about the pressure maybe, and this wouldn't necessarily be bad people, but a family, say you're a family and you've had somebody with such extreme mental health, demanding mental health condition.
Thank you,
that's
May.
gone on and on and on and on. And conversations like "there's nothing left we can do for you" are coming up.
What do you think of this idea, though, of kind of factoring in sort of a buffer zone so that you have several or countless occasions before the actual moment of kind of
I'm sure
euthanasia?
that's what they do. I'm sure that's what they do.
It can't be based upon a one moment decision.
Of course it won't be. Of course it won't be. But I just think, you know, as I always say, I'm very lucky. I've never suffered with my mental health, but I can see how I've seen you when you're at your lowest low. And I could see how in those moments, you know, if you've got it in your back pocket as a possibility, would that, you know, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because towards the end of this article, it says critics of suicide legalization say that people like this poor young woman have been encouraged to kill themselves by the law, with some likening the suicide surge to a contagion.
Oh my God.
Which I paused at that and thought sensationalist. And then I thought, no, well, hang on a minute. If it isn't a choice, but then if it isn't a choice, know, I mean, how?
With a younger person that hasn't got the experience of life and knowing that there can be so many twists and turns and possibilities.
Absolutely.
And you mix that with the terrible lows of just being a young person, the confusion and the fear about the world. And then you add to that a mental health condition. And then you add to that, oh, there is this way out that's always there.
Yeah.
I really worry about it in the way that I don't with somebody that's suffering great physical pain, but maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it's problematic. It's really problematic. And whilst I wanted to kind of go, well, is it contagion? When I saw the statistics, 5% of all deaths in the Netherlands, and you sort of think...
Of a certain age?
No, 5% of all deaths is, I mean, whether it's more often, it's a good question, whether it's more older people like the former Prime Minister, I don't know. Yeah,
because don't forget, we have an awful lot of people here that suffer way beyond the years that they should. So maybe that is more of a figure that maybe every country could be at, rather than leaving people. I mean, I was reading something yesterday about this guy with a motor neuron. We still have no way to assist somebody with that, and it's brutal. So anyway.
And also, it's that thing that life is constantly changing. I mean, one of the most common refrains you hear in 12-step recovery programs, when I've sat with therapists and when you're at your darkest place. And I remember having one of my darkest moments coincided with sitting down in the chair with a therapist. I said, this is unusual, because one often finds in therapy that you are talking retrospectively about a time where you were so dark. And because I've been a strong advocate, and I do try to use language to describe this on my Instagram, I'm a huge believer that the vast majority of what we experience, and one of the huge problems for mental health sufferers, is the frustration with language, the pressure on us to articulate, because we're social creatures, the ability to help those who care and help those who want to care get a better grasp on it. And it is not verbal, it is not linguistic, it is not emotional. And so it was really odd to be in a therapeutic scenario at the very worst moment. And I got through the door, God only knows how. And so much of that session was crying and sitting and sounds, and and of course the professional perspective is they can't reach over, they're not going to offer you that tissue box and all that, but she wasn't even doing that. She was a fantastic there. And the amount of sitting with it, and the first thing I said when I sat down was everything I say to my children, which is, I know this is going to pass. And I just remember burying my head into my hands and sobbing my heart out, and then just sitting. And she allowed me to just sit. And, it does. And my fear with all of this is that there is an impatience in so many aspects of our modern lives that there's even the impatience of getting well in a conventional way, because we need to be answerable and be able to explain what we're feeling to people who aren't being horrible, they care. But you get irascible with them. And maybe this speaks to why there's an irascibility with those very people that are caring for you the most, because you are aware of the insufficiency of anything you can say to help them, because you can see their love for you.
Well, if you just take it away from mental health, if somebody's struggling with mental health, and you just take society, and I think it's one of the reasons why we're so unhappy in this country and why children are so unhappy, is we don't say sit with how you feel. We say we rush and we fix it because we don't want people to be unhappy, and we don't want people to be angry, and we don't want people. And I don't think we're given enough respect to emotions and say that they're here. Yeah. We are impatient. It's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, the great thing about doing a topic like this is you have all this experience, and so I think you're just so qualified to talk about it, which is.
I mean, sometimes the best ways to talk about it, weirdly, sometimes certainly when I post stuff, is to talk about not being able to talk about it.
But I'll say to you sometimes, don't I? I say, is this one of those where you want to talk? But this is what I've learned, or is it a day where it's like, and he'll just say, yeah, like it's a day where I can't say anything. Other days, he might need to just like completely talk about it. And I think if you're living with somebody that does occasionally struggle with their mental health, I would give that as a tip that I've learned. It's not something, oh my God, I'm so brilliant, I do it. I've learned it because you want to fix things. Oh my God, well, what's wrong? Well, what happened? Oh, well, what do? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? And I know that I don't always get it right, but usually now I know the difference. If something's triggered, that Mark might need to talk about, or whether it's just the overwhelmingness of the condition and he just needs to just be. And it is, you need patience.
Yeah, you do, with yourself. May Edmondson, please could we do a longer mental health live on this topic? Yeah, absolutely. I also just want to clarify, we'd always said that the ADHD and Thirsty Thursdays were going to be a sort of January kind of phenomenon. I think they reached over a little bit into Feb. But we also acknowledged that they were very useful in different ways at different times. So we will drop more mental health chats and, body image stuff on the channel. So we will be doing that.
Gemma can't talk to her partner about it.
Where's Gemma gone?
Oh, I'm sorry, Gemma. I'm wondering if there's anything that we've done in previous podcasts about talking to your partner about mental health.
Yeah, we'll
have a scroll through our podcast. There might be something there. Maybe you could sit with him or her and watch it, and then that might get a conversation going.
Just final couple of comments. Lucy May, it's so hard, Mark. I've been in therapy for 5 years. It's the best thing I've ever done. That's why I've had to step away from here, as I struggle sometimes with the tragedy of the world. Absolutely understand that. Makes total sense.
You have to protect yourself.
Oh, Reese, bless you, matey flip. Ultimately, Mark, you've come through the fire. That sage wisdom was a gift to impart on as many people as possible, especially when life gets heavy and feels insurmountable.
Don't make me cry.
Your smiley face is almost, it should be bottled and put in an antidepressant box. Really, there's just an energy to you that's quite infectious. Amy, yes, please. I really need the support and chat about mental health. Okay, well, yeah, because sometimes I know that a lot of my stuff pivots specifically around addiction.
We'll try and find something on podcast. We'll put the link under here that maybe, I think we have done something.
Yeah, but we will definitely come back to this. We're now going to sort of handbrake turn and kind of shift towards something much more silly. So this is the topic which I can't get on a search engine. I can only get it on Apple News. This is this story here that Nadji kept saying a word this morning, and I didn't really understand what the word was. So what is this?
No, this was just a letter. What is Slate? Does anyone know the publication Slate?
Is it like sort of? I
don't know.
MASH? Is it one of those online publications?
Anyways, so I'll paraphrase. This was a chap sent in this letter. He's 40. He and his wife are in their 40s. 13 years married. She'd had an operation. She was sort of coming round, IV infusions, feeling a lot better. And, because their relationship had effectively been sexless. She still has health issues, but has been able to increase physical activity and now walks 4 to 8 miles, Have tried to prioritise intimacy in the last few months. We have kissed and made out recently our first attempts at physical intimacy in over 6 months. However, she told me that on 2 occasions in the last several years, I made sexual advances, and puts in brackets, I was pouring her when she had not wanted me to. Both episodes that she brought up happened in the last year, and I clearly recall them as consensual. When I spoke with her and asked if it was not consensual, she said, that's not what I mean. She has brought up the pressure she feels from me on occasions when I think we're flirting. And it goes on. But I just thought this was quite interesting, because part of the answer from this person is, it seems like you're coming from it as, just one thing or another. And it's much more nuanced. What your wife is trying to say is nuanced, because she said you were pouring at me, and he's like, oh, I thought it was consensual. So we were just having this discussion about it, and I said to Mark, oh, pouring is the most awful thing to say to somebody. And Mark was like, well, what is it?
Well, I mean, I know what pouring is as a cat. It's pouring.
Yeah, but you'd never heard it being used within, and a lot of women say it, oh, he's pouring at me.
What does it mean?
Well, I just thought it meant like a bit like, oh, just like, and you're just like, oh, get off.
Is it like this?
It's a bit like, yeah, stop pouring at me. Just like
pulling. And
what do you understand?
Not pouring as in pouring,
I looked up the
Siobhan,
definition.
but like a cat's paw.
Have you ever used it? Has it ever been used? Has it ever been said to you? And what is your understanding?
Yeah, no, people are having the same, like, what did you mean? Groping, Edward Bevington.
Groping.
Yeah. Yes. I think, okay, if I was to, having just done a bit of this as well, I think pouring is like nudging towards something or pulling towards something, slightly against it, but sort of suggesting you want to.
Yeah. Kind of. But actually, the definition, I did send it to you.
I thought you meant pouring.
No, pouring as in P-A-W. To feel or touch someone roughly with the hand, especially in an unpleasant sexual way.
Friendly groping, says Edward Bevington, friendly in inverted commas.
Yeah, you see, and I think there's a massive misunderstanding between men and women on this.
Tracy, stop, needy.
Oh, you hear it as needy. I just want a cat now, says May
Edward Bevington said, what's knobbing then? Clumsy, non-sensual.
Oh, that's what I would. That is so good. That is clumsy, non-sensual, not non-consensual. I love that.
I just want a cat now, says May Edmondson.
I love that
yuck.
Because in the answer it does say, post Me Too season, there are like often people will fall into 2 groups, like unless it's rape, everything else is fine, or another group where everything is like, so, but I think, pouring to me isn't friendly, but I think this speaks to better than begging.
Don't know until you've tried.
Should wait for our podcast today. Oh my God, it's so funny. We did couples to throuple.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's going up later.
You've got a cracker tonight. Oh, here we go. Hang on. Victoria Moore. Is this okay? Is this a safe place to say this? And presumably your hubby isn't my husband. I won't put it on the screen. My hubby is a pourer. It's hard to say a pourer.
So what do you understand it to mean? I mean, why are we talking about this? Because
here we go. That's a good description. Sorry. Rachel Mason again. Unwanted and icky sexual attention that's physically repulsive.
Oh, I just love women.
Rachel,
women.
Say that instead of you're pouring me. This is unwanted, icky sexual attention that I find physically repulsive. It will never happen again. I guarantee. But he will go into the corner of the room, Rachel.
Is literally devastated by this word because he thought he was being intimate.
Oh, dear.
Now, this is 13 years of marriage. He's in his 40s. And it speaks to, again, that...
Good question from Faith.
That lack of communication that goes on between 2 people in a relationship, right? That you can be together that long. And maybe the reason he doesn't understand is because she's never told him what she wants or how she wants. But also I think... It's just so, you've either got the instinct or you haven't, have you?
Well, that's my thing. Faith just asked, why does he do it again if she doesn't like it? So
I just
had to pop that up, me too. That was very funny.
He didn't know.
Does pouring lead to licking? And Sarah D says, been there many times. No. he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
No.
He thinks he's being intimate. He thinks he's not going for intercourse because they need to get intimate again because she's had this operation. So I tell you exactly what's going on with her. She is not ready. She does not want it. That's what he says to me. If that was my girlfriend, I'd go, all right, you're not ready. You don't want it at all. But probably partly she thinks she should go with it partly because it's been so long and, you know.
Well, it puts me in mind of that wonderful, wonderful line from the Megan Nolan book, Acts of Desperation, where she says, I so didn't want to have sex with him. I had sex with him.
It's the most... Think about that line. Say it again.
I so didn't want to have sex with him. I felt I had to have sex with him, essentially.
Do you know what that means? I wonder if anyone, just say yes or no, you don't have to describe it. Does it just give you a sense of understanding?
Yeah, and that sense of the transactional relationship or the pressure and the gentle can be gentle, but quite firm. Even the gentlest of pressure can be the firmest of pressure.
Sometimes gentle pressure is just as it is.
And I think that's the problem with pouring. What I would say in this, can I just say this in this? But can I just say in this guy's defense and picking up again on what Faye said, why does he do it if she doesn't like it? Where I have a bit of compassion for him in this is he might not know any other way of showing affection. And he not only doesn't know, but here's the thing, and I've been in this situation, I've been in it with you, I've been in where if in a certain situation you've done something incorrectly or you've been a bit heavy-handed or you've been a bit this or whatever, or not, you know, I don't know, not heavy-handed in
He's never been heavy-handed.
No, I don't mean like that. I mean like intimately, you know, you're like, oh.
Yeah, you misread.
If you misread or misjudge something in some way, it can put such a spotlight on you for so long that you are forever tripping potentially. And you have to kind of almost like, you almost have to like Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. Go into an antechamber, just shake yourself about a bit and go, just reset.
Because I tell you, what would I say if I was a sex therapist? I would say here, what went so wrong there is that she thought she should do something, even though she wasn't ready, and then in the end hurt him so much more by what she said. Because I think what can often happen in a relationship, if you're the person, whether the man or woman, who isn't asexual or doesn't want sex for whatever reason, depression, illness, gone off the person, rowing too much, whatever, but don't necessarily want to leave that person, but it's all gone a bit haywire. If you kind of get into the intimacy but aren't really into it, it will come back. You will eventually say it. It will come back to haunt that relationship.
Yes.
So if somebody said, you know, in retrospect, what would have been the better thing for her to do? I think would have been, because I bet you this is what happened. I bet he snuggled up. I bet they had a bit of a cuddle, and I bet she was like, oh yeah, this is nice. Bet you anything. Then they had a bit of a kiss, and so she's like, okay, but I don't really want to get sex. And then maybe there was a bit of
pouring,
bit of this. Now he thinks he's gone 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps. She's gone. Now he's pouring at me.
But maybe his problem is
because
the
he wasn't
end move.
Ready.
But maybe his end move is
no. But if she'd said, "Listen, I really get it, and I understand that, you know, we haven't had sex for a long time, and da da da. But you know what? I'm just not in the right place. But can we have more? Whatever bit you did like." Could we just keep having more of that, and I'll tell you when we can move on? That is the only way to do it.
But then he goes, so just tell me, sweetie, what bit did you like? And she'll
say, don't say sweetie. Don't say it.
What bit?
Don't say it in the middle of something like this.
What bit did you like? And she goes, nothing involving your hands. Nothing involving your hands. Oh, shit. I just want to read Francesca's Bastos.
Can you just...
Not touch me.
This.
Yeah, just use your chin and your nose because you can't pour with it. Consent is so sexy, says Francesca. Men still haven't discovered what it can do to us to be asked and talked to. The balance between the utter respect, care, and wildness of the act. Learn, men.
Oh, see, no, you said wildness of the act, and then, but when I hear to be asked.
Yeah, but asked and then wild.
Oh, I see.
That's what makes it wilder. God, I get it, Francesca. I'm on the same page. No pouring here. Our ankles allowed again. Victorians had it right. I ended my last relationship with Sugar Lollipop because I hated the pouring and it wasn't fair on him. Thank you, menopause.
The pouring, see?
Wow.
Women know what it means, men don't.
Is it
now
like...
that explains everything.
Wow. Oh, Christ, Francesca Bastos. Look, it's carrying on. Thank you, Mark. But as a 32-year-old with a great crush right now that might be going somewhere soon and being very horny, all these sounds... Wow.
What
good
you
luck.
mean? You'd like a bit of pouring?
Oh, okay. So for me, I'm just thinking of mittens. Oh, it's horrible. I'd hate to be poured. I don't know. I might quite like it. Actually.
Oh, have you ever? It doesn't work one way. Have you ever been poured? Like
No.
you're not really into it. Somebody sort of like kissed you, and you're sort of like, oh, and then the next minute they're having a
Well,
bit of a ooh la la.
unfortunately, I don't know how to break the news to you, but holding your hand is like holding a paw. It's horrible. It's actually horrible.
It's not very nice.
No, when you hold my hand, it's lovely, but you do. Your hand goes completely
Yeah, but
dead.
you want me to hold your hand
No,
like this?
you hold with
And
consciousness.
I've got to hold it that tight. It's exhausting.
No, gentle
I'm
presence.
just like, yeah, but that's just relaxed.
It's not
Because
relaxed.
actually, this is
It's
what I prefer.
lazy.
Like, oh, shut up.
What do you prefer? Like
For
a
God's
toddler?
sake, man.
Like a toddler?
No,
Come on, walkie
right,
walkies.
come over here. Sorry about my fitness gear. I am planning to do fitness. No, like this, like this.
No, so
This is nice. But you
I-
want to go,
no,
you go like
that's not-
this.
that's not
You're
true.
just trying to show off your Joe Wicks. When
No,
you
I'm
hold
not.
it.
No, hold my hand. Now, for me, it's always a case of I always hold my hand at the front with you.
No, you hold it tighter than that.
Yeah, no, I hold it like that.
But you're nice.
You're not holding at
Oh,
all.
I've worked out what it is.
You're not doing
No, I
anything.
know what's happened because I've just thought about it consciously. I really like being held.
Okay.
Hang on, hold me like this.
Oh.
Yeah, you see, you can't do that, and that's what I like.
Can't do
so
what?
You can't hold me like that, so you're holding my hand. Hold
I just
my
held you like that.
hand,
It's quite
and
hard.
we're
I think your bones are quite heavy,
halfway
babe.
Somehow. My
think-
bones are heavy.
Yeah, because
Why are you talking about my bones?
because I can lift like 60
I don't think my bones are
easily.
heavy. I'm very worried about my bones. My
Yeah, but
girls
why are you
measured
so
me, and
heavy?
I've lost 2 inches.
Why am I struggling to carry you?
I'm so worried I've got
Because I can
osteoporosis.
carry anything, but I can't carry you.
Right. Oh, we've got to go.
Yeah, we have.
We actually have.
We have. Okay, so briefly,
want
we'll talk about. I'm going to talk about Israel tomorrow, but of course, this is all pivoting around the fact that 600 former Supreme Court lawyers, senior lawyers in our country, are basically saying that it looks like our government is supporting a government and is therefore that's breaking international law, and therefore we're breaking international law. It looks like we could be in breach of the Genocide Convention. So this story is rumbling. There's a lot of kind of pressure and urgency around Rishi Sunak and the government and Labour supporting the idea that we do not or no longer sell arms to Israel. Now, we're not one of the major suppliers to Israel. America is. It's not going to be a dent
Was
inside.
it 50 million?
Yeah, we subcontract to firms that sell bits of tech and what have you. So the actual missiles landing are principally Biden's joyful present to the Middle East. So yeah, but I just wanted to show you this film, which is quite remarkable. Obviously, there's been the tragedy of the earthquake in Taiwan.
Oh my God, it's just awful.
And some of the footage that I've seen, it happened in rush hour, which means, of course, so many people have their cameras and phones, and so much of it has been captured. But look at this.
What is that?
These children said there is a rooftop pool, and in a minute, what?
Oh my God,
That's fine. Watching. That's
oh,
look at the guy in the middle of the pool.
what's the cat out of the
It's
pool?
probably the safest place to. Well, I don't know if it
No,
is.
you could end up going over with the
But
water.
look at that. Look at that. And then,
What the hell was he?
and then this is the
People
footage.
Weird.
This is various cameras around Taiwan, 7.2 to 7.7.
Oh my God, don't. So
This is a TV
petrifying.
studio. The lights in a TV studio
Petrifying.
shaking.
Oh, don't. I just find it so scary.
This is the
look at her
weather.
holding on.
She still kept delivering the weather report. It's the same footage there. Strongest tremor to hit the
He
island.
definitely wants to be in the pool. He's
Yeah,
staying in
he's
there.
standing. He's there
Do you think
saying,
he
"Film
thinks
me."
it's safe?
But I just want to sort of just move you on to this clip here.
God, that's
Sorry.
scary. Can you
Look at the
even-
buildings that have been left. I mean, that one didn't collapse completely.
Oh, there's people on the balcony.
Yeah, they're rescuing people from all these buildings that have sort of slipped to the side.
Oh my God, help them.
Incredibly high. Look
Oh,
at that. It's just sunk into the floor.
Oh my God, these poor people.
Look, this is like Nanny Dies flat. Look, just everything just.
Oh my God.
I mean, imagine that. I mean, the one time we were in a sort of tremor at that time in LA.
Tiny.
Tiny.
It was so
But there's
scary.
nothing more bizarre than the Earth moving.
You are utterly powerless.
Yeah.
So could there be tsunami warnings now then?
There were, and there was a small kind of ripple out, I think, on the Pacific Basin, but fortunately it wasn't massive. Okay, guys, we're going to speak tomorrow in more detail about Israel.
Yeah, because hopefully we'll have the interview there that you were really impressed by on LBC.
Sir Alan Duncan, very good interview with Nick Ferrari on LBC, if you want to go and check it out.
We were hoping it would come up before the end so we could replay it to you.
Okay. All right, guys, have a lovely